Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, we will be jumping inside of the film room and breaking down how I think Tennessee's new pistol offense will look. Now, I have to be clear on this. I don't think that the whole offense is going to change to just the pistol. It's just something that we're adding. It's something that I think that we'll run a little bit more of. Now, the last time that we really ran the pistol was back in 2021. That was Coach Heupel's first season with Tennessee. But outside of that, every time the Tennessee's run it, we've been taking knees. So it is going to be new for everyone that's on this current roster, and there's several benefits to it that we will get into as we go throughout this film breakdown. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, y'all, we're going to start with this picture of the Baltimore Ravens running the pistol offense. They are the team in white, and this is last season versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So, number one, I want for y'all to see how the pistol looks, and it can look a lot of different ways. But how you know that it is a pistol is because the quarterback will be 4 yards from the center. The running back's going to be 2 yards behind the quarterback. You can have different personnel groups. So, it could be 0 tight ends, 1 tight end, 2 tight end, 3 tight ends right here. Baltimore has 2, highlighted with 1 and 2 down at the bottom. And again, this can just look very, very different than what we're seeing right here, outside of the simple fact that the quarterback won't be under center and the running back is going to be behind that quarterback. And we'll take a look at some different ways that this could look as we go throughout it. But you can also have different body types. It's something I've heard people talking about. So Baltimore, they've got an offensive lineman. I think he's playing at tackle. He's like 6'8", 380. That's huge. They also have some smaller offensive linemen that are quicker. They've got big wide receivers, small wide receivers right there highlighted in white. That's Derrick Henry. He's 6'4", 250. None of that stuff matters too much. It will probably change the way that you run some of your plays and the different types of plays that you might run, but it's not going to stop you from running the pistol offense. What makes this whole thing go, what can stop you from running it and not running it, is the guy that's highlighted in orange or in gold, whatever that looks like to y'all, but that is Lamar Jackson. That's a bad man. You need a bad man playing a quarterback for you to be able to run this system. And the main reason that I chose this picture is just to show everybody that this is an offense that is run in the pros. I mean, every single team runs it. This is Baltimore's base offense. For me, these days, this is now a pro style offense. So there's a lot of differences to it, compared to what Tennessee typically does. The main thing is going to be with the operations of the entire offense. It's going to operate more like, what we would call a, throwback pro style offense where quarterbacks under center and all that type of stuff. But the reason I have Kansas City's defense highlighted inside of that green box is because it keeps the defense honest. You can tell what the defense is going to be playing because they have to line up right. If they don't line up right, it's going to be some huge holes, in their defense. It keeps everything very even. So it gives us a very clear picture from the offensive line to the skill players, whether that's tight end or whether that's wide receivers, running back, quarterback, doesn't really matter. You understand what you want to do pre-snap, and then based off of the movement post-snap, you know exactly where to go. So it simplifies things from that perspective. But yeah, those are pretty much my main points with this offense. And obviously with anything, there will be pros and cons to it. This is something that we brought up before. My number one pro for this offense is that you can run any sort of a passing scheme, running scheme, whether that's inside zone, outside zone, option plays, whether that's some shorter routes, mesh concepts, deeper routes. You can do all of that type of stuff within this offense. So it's very, very versatile from that perspective. But also the quarterback can ball inside of this offense. That's huge because we have a baller playing at quarterback. I definitely want him to be in control of our offense. Next is going to keep that defense honest. We talked about that some just a second ago, but we will go deeper into that as we go throughout this film. Also, it's very easy to learn, but it's hard to stop. That's big because Tennessee's got several young guys playing in different spots, from wide receiver to tight end, running back, some, or just like new players. Obviously, Boo Carter wants to play offense. He's used to playing defense. So I think that that's critical for this team to have an offense that's not going to be very difficult for anyone to grasp. But also, just kind of like looking at some of the cons, the quarterback will be closer to the line of scrimmage. Now, what that means is the pass rush is going to be closer to that quarterback, so the offensive line definitely has to hold up. And it can struggle versus blitzes in a lot of different situations. But inside of this offense, you can offset it with all the different moving pieces and things like that, just to kind of slow down how that pass rush looks. And also, I think that the offensive line has to be strong. And I mean strong physically, okay? They have to be able to hold up at the point of contact because, like we said, the quarterback is closer to that pass rush. But, again, there's some things that we can do to offset some of that. So next thing and last thing is that we could possibly see more fumbles just because there's so many ball fakes, there's so many moving pieces. It's going to be a whole lot of motions and shifts. And, there's just a lot of things that we will see once we actually get into the breaking down of this film that can cause some fumbles within this offense. All right, so we're going to start with these run plays, and I've got some clips in here from Tennessee in 2021. I've got some clips from Oklahoma whenever Coach Seth was there last season, and I think I've got like a clip or two from Texas. So let's just keep that in mind. I'll do my best to make sure that I'm telling you what team is what as we're going through. So this first one is from Oklahoma. And on this first play, we're going to see number one, they have two tight ends. So this is 12 personnel, and this is a tight set. Okay, obviously this is a pistol. Okay, and that wide receiver that's up at the top, he's going to motion over. Okay, he's going to he's going to motion all the way to the other side of the formation, but he's going to end up coming back around. Y'all see that will all make sense here in just a second. So on this play, okay, this is an inside zone. You can see that Oklahoma has 7 blockers versus 8 defenders. Now, the guy that's highlighted in purple on defense, he's one that they're going to be able to freeze with some of their movement. Okay, so this is actually an option play. Okay, so the quarterback, he can decide to either hand the football off to the running back on that inside zone, or he can keep it on a speed option. That's going to go to that wide receiver that we were just kind of talking about. Okay, so we'll watch this thing kind of go through. Boom. So as you can see, there really is a whole lot of green grass up at the top. I'm not quite sure what the quarterback's doing here. Now, I'm looking at the guy that's highlighted in blue. Is that who the quarterback's looking at? I'm not quite sure. But if he was, you can get past it. I mean, you should have the speed to get past him. But this that's back to my point that the quarterback is what makes this thing go. The quarterback's got to be, very good physically, but they also need to understand football on a different level where they say, hey, I can beat this guy. I see that I've got numbers, because really this is going to end up being, you've got the quarterback's legs and you've got that wide receiver's legs versus the guy in purple. So this should really be like a 2-on-1 situation. But, quarterback ends up handing it off, and they still get positive yards, right? Just because everything that you're doing here with all the movement is going to freeze things up. So we'll see it again from this end zone angle. That's the same guy that we highlighted in blue from the sideline angle. And you can see, I mean, yeah, he's kind of right there. But, I mean, if you're going around him, he's not going to be able to get there. And if he does get to the quarterback can still pitch it. I like, any of my guys in a one-on-one situation, and we're talking about that wide receiver. He will be in a one-on-one situation with that corner, but the ball gets handed off. It's still a positive gain. So this is just kind of showing you some of the basic stuff to the pistol offense. Okay, it's going to be inside zone, outside zone. I think Tennessee's going to try to run more outside zone with it. We didn't run a ton of outside zone last season, and actually Tennessee ran the least amount of pistol out of any team in the SEC last season. It was only 7 plays, and like I said, we were kneeling on every single one of those plays. So this one right here, this is a full house. Okay, some people call it a diamond, but either way, what you're going to have right here is 1, 2 tight ends. They are highlighted with the running back right behind that quarterback. So you can already tell that you can do a whole lot of different things here. It doesn't have to just be tight ends playing there. You could put not quarterbacks. You could put wide receivers there, running backs there, and you can mix and match. And we'll kind of see that as we go throughout. But on this play, what's going to happen is Oklahoma, they're going to use those 2 tight ends as lead blockers going to the outside. So that's for the quarterback. This is another read option off of the inside zone. So the quarterback can either hand it off to the running back. His path is highlighted in orange. Okay, and if he doesn't want to hand it off to him, or if he likes the numbers on the outside, which really he should have, he can keep it himself. And there could also be like a triple option, threat to this. It's because the quarterback can fake like he's running out there. If the quarterback wants to keep it, you could have one of your wide receivers go out on a pass, whether that's from the backside or from the front side. But yeah, there's a lot of different things, because obviously as the quarterback shows that he's running, the safeties have to come up. So I just kind of want to point all those things out. Again, you can see there's plenty of grass out there that the quarterback definitely could have ran with. So not quite sure why he did it. This is who his read guy was. Okay, he's reading this end man, and if the end man crashes down, then he's supposed to hand it off. If he doesn't, then he's just going to keep it. But I'm gonna go back, right? And I'm just going to show you a couple of things that maybe could have been done differently. So number one, we've got 2 tight ends that are trying to get to the outside. Now, you could have had that tight end maybe block this end man, but that would take away the actual read of this play. Unless what you're going to read is, hey, does my tight end get beat on this block? If the tight end doesn't get beat, then you should be able to pretty much skate into the end zone. It'd be like a one-on-one situation with the quarterback and that safety. I would like Nico one-on-one, versus safety. I don't know about this quarterback here, but either way, I'm just kind of showing you why he didn't keep it, but I think that he definitely could have. So this is an offense that, again, man, is going to be centered around the quarterback. So this is our Volunteers back in 2021. And this is just going to be an outside zone. As y'all can see, this is 11 personnel, which means there's only 1 tight end. I think the Tennessee is probably going to try to do something where, we can still spread that field out and then maybe go fast and shift to a pistol or something like that. You can see that we did a pretty good job of getting yardage right there. We'll see it again from this angle, and this is an outside zone, okay? So with the outside zone, there can always be cutback lane. And that's what we missed on this one. Also, looking at this boot action from Hendon, you see that it's going to freeze that backside in. This is something else that Tennessee's really struggled with within our running game. Now, typically Tennessee only runs inside zone, but that backside guy, whether it's an end, whether it's a backer, they typically are the ones that are making that tackle, but just because no one's really blocking them there. But see, doing it like this, where it's outside zone, you've got the option to cut back. And again, that backside end is going to be held up by the quarterback who's booting out. This gives you a lot more flexibility. Okay, I think that this is just a much better look for Tennessee as a whole. So we are going to see another outside zone play right here. Okay, this is the exact same play. We've got one tight end in here, and on this one, we're actually going to get to that cutback. Okay, so boom, hit that cutback, and you can see that there's a lot more room for us to run. So that's why I really love the outside zone, just because boom, right? Like if the outside part of it isn't there, which all outside zone means basically is that the offensive line wants to get to the outside of the defense, and the running back is going to try to run to the outside. That's their aiming point. Again, there can and there typically are going to be some cutback lanes. The running back has to kind of be patient and find out where those holes are. That's another part of the reason that I love it, because it lets our running backs ball some. Inside zone is almost like the total opposite of what we just talked about. The aiming point for the running back is to the inside. Typically, the offensive line or all the blockers, they want to try to get inside leverage instead of outside leverage. But here, we can see that the running back here, Small, he sees that that tackle is beating one of our offensive linemen. So that's what I think really probably triggered him to hit this cutback. I don't know if he saw it. I don't want to take nothing from him, but I think that he probably saw that, defense kind of flash first. Again, like we said, the offensive line is going to have to be a little bit quicker, especially guards and things like that. They've got to have more speed, which is why I think Tennessee went out to get some faster guards, because they have to get on the other side of, some of these faster tackles playing in the SEC. But you can see that this cutback lane is definitely there. That end guy, I think that might be a safety, doesn't really matter. But Hendo Cinco, I don't think he carried his fake out as well as he could have, right? If he carries it out a little bit stronger, then that would freeze this guy in red just a little bit more, okay? But again, I love my guys one-on-one versus anybody. I don't care. Like, it's going to take several folks to stop us. That should be what the mindset is. And we can see that Small runs through that little, shoestring tackle and gets us about 10 yards on it. So this next one, we can see this is Texas, right? This is Texas versus Michigan last season. On this play, they're starting off in a shotgun, okay? You can watch that running back. This is 12 personnel. You see those tight ends shifting over. But watch this tight end. He's going to fake like he's going to the right side, but he comes back to that left side, okay? And now they've shifted to a pistol. But look at Michigan's defense. They're moving all over the place. This is what I'm talking about. We can go from running, shotgun, spreading things out, to a pistol, tightening things up. It'll throw the whole defense off. And this right here, for me, this is what I call a Boo Carter special. This could be, Boo. This could be Braylon Staley. It could be Mike Matthews. It could be anybody, but you want a guy with some speed, right? So we're showing outside zone here. The defense has to kind of flow over there, but we're going to come back, okay, to the other side with a guy that has some speed, okay? And it's set up beautifully. We'll see it again from the end zone angle, but man, whenever you got guys that can skate, again, going back to Boo, we've seen how good he looks out in that open field. These are the types of plays that he could definitely thrive in. And that's not hard. I mean, you can teach anybody how to do that. This is something that you're running like rec league and stuff. This is a very easy play to teach. But again, pay attention to Michigan's defense as this shift is happening. You can see everyone's just kind of moving around. We don't know what the heck to do. Tackles got to switch spots and everything else. Now, boom, plays going on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are all playing out in space, okay? These are all like second level guys, and they're paused because they have no idea what the heck is going on. They have to read. This is how you slow defenses. This is how you slow defenses down with different movement. But you can also see that Texas has an offensive lineman that's already getting up to the second level. The offense is still operating while the defense is standing still. This is why I love the misdirection stuff. Okay, now look at this here. You've got 4 on 2. You got to love all these eyes, right? You've got a very nice lane for a guy with a ton of speed. Again, think about like a Boo Carter running the rock with all this green grass. And you already know you about to be off to the races. So you want to try to utilize your playmakers and your guys that are skillful as much as possible, because that'll bring in some more players for us moving on down the line. Now we're on to the passing plays. And this first one, okay, this is 12 personnel. The tight end is going to motion over. All right, tight end's motioning over. Boom, 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 boom. So on this, we talked about the post over concept. This is something that Coach Seth loves to run. Now, this looks a little bit different from what we showed you. The difference here is this is the exact same play with max protection. So you don't have as many people going out on those routes, but it's still the same concept. It's the post, which is the one that's in red, and then it's the over, which is the one that's in orange. And actually, Braylon Staley said that his favorite route is the over route. Pretty much all the plays that I've seen, actually, too, y'all, from Tennessee, scoring plays or some big passing plays on offense this season has been some type of a crossing route. It's been like an over or it's been like a drag, but you can tell that they're crossing the field on these catches and they're having a lot of success doing it. So, the first read here is that post. And what we're going to see is that we've got the safety and the cornerback that's highlighted in red. They're going to go with that post, and that's going to leave the over wide open. And this is going to be operating off of play action. This is play action. It looks like maybe the quarterback's reading, but that's 100% pass blocking. And you can see right here, look at all that green grass on this over route. This is why wide receivers love it. This is why quarterbacks love it. This is a throw that Nico makes, in his sleep easily. This is beautiful. So, yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to us doing coming up this year. All right, so on this next one, okay, we're going to have 12 personnel. This is a tight set. We see Tennessee get into this set a lot. The only difference is with Tennessee, our wide receivers are spread way out, okay? So we've got one-on-one coverage up at the top. And just because whenever you get into these types of sets, and if you've been running the football, like we said, inside zone, outside zone, everything starts with the run. Everything works off of the run. It doesn't matter if you're running pistol, if you're running shotgun, if you're under center, you got to be able to establish that running game. Oklahoma's running game wasn't even great last season. Tennessee's will always be very, very good. So I'm saying all those things just to say that the safety right here, you see him in red, is going to have to come down into the box, and then the other safety is going to have to play in the middle. That's what makes this one-on-one. So this is just going to be pretty much like a three-step drop. You fake that handoff. Again, that's 100% play action. You got guys with some speed. That should be easy pitch and catch. And we'll see it again from this end zone angle. You can see that they're really selling that run out with either a tackle or a tight end that comes across. You know what I'm saying? Like they're about to block. Now, this pass was thrown about 5 yards out of bounds. We know how that feels, but I think it won't be the same this season. Look at all that green grass there. This is something that I am expecting Tennessee to be able to hit on in a very, very major way coming up in 2025. So next play here, we're going to have a bootleg, okay? So on this, right, we're faking that handoff. The quarterback is going to boot out. We've got two tight ends. You can see that they're both on the same side. So boom, go ahead and let this thing roll. So this is how the route combinations look, okay? And I had to color coordinate this so that y'all don't get thrown off. So the backside, that's like an over route. Kind of looks like a dig the way that I drew it, but that's really like a deep over route. So that could be maybe like a Chris Brazo that would be running that. Actually, Tennessee does a good job with this concept. And actually, Brazo had a really nice catch. I want to say that might have been versus Florida last season. Either way, all right, the guy up at the top in white, he's running everything off. So he's just going vertical, getting that cornerback out of there. Then you've got the guy that's in yellow. He's going to run a wheel. That's actually where the pass is going to go. Then you also have the guy that's in blue. He's just going out to the flat. So this is just overloading zones, okay? This is called a flood concept, right? So, you've got different levels here and all of that. But what you're seeing is because the cornerback is playing a flat zone, he's got to look at the tight end that's in blue, but he's also going to be watching the quarterback very heavily because the quarterback is running towards him. Whenever you have a quarterback that can use their legs, it puts a ton of stress on a defense. I think that we should all know that by now. But what it's going to end up doing is leaving that tight end wide open on the sidelines for a very, very big play. Again, Tennessee does a great job with this concept. I wish that we were running just a little bit more. So pay attention to what this does to the box, really to the whole defense off of this boot action. So boom, you can see that pretty much all those linemen, they moved all the way over to the left. So that gives the quarterback a lot more room. But now you've got these two guys that are playing out in space at linebacker, which I think they're actually doing a good job. They didn't bite on that fake too hard. Okay, they're using their eyes very well. But they also have a couple things that they need to worry about. Number one, there's that quarterback, again, his legs. But then you can also see that there's the tight end right there that they have to kind of worry about too as far as the covers. They got to try to drop back to depth. And it's too much, right? It's too much for them to have to think about on the fly just because everything looks the exact same. The running plays, passing plays, everything looks totally the same. So I love those concepts. Now, on this play, going to have a very similar concept. As a matter of fact, it's the exact same concept, but they're just doing it a little bit differently here, okay? So we'll go ahead and actually let this thing roll. You can kind of see because we already kind of went through that, but you can see how this levels concept, getting the quarterback out, it works beautifully. And also you can see, okay, so this is another part of it. Like we said with this offense, you can do a lot of different things. So they start off in that full house that we just talked about earlier. and then they move, they move their running back over to the right side. And that's the other part of this too, that you've got two. I think that those are both probably running backs, and then you've got one wide receiver in this set. That puts a ton of stress on a defense because you can still run it. Okay, this is a 20 personnel. There's zero tight ends. This is typically a very, very heavy run set. I think teams would run out of this about 90% of the time, something like that. So what do you want to do here, right? Like, do you want to stay in your base defense with all these big, kind of like slow linebackers? But now you've got them matched up, in this box area with some guys that can move. So this is how you can create a ton of mismatches and things like that. And also that guard does a really bad job of kind of getting that chip, which is why that play felt like it was about to get blown up. But yeah, you can do a lot of very nice things out of this offensive set. Now we're going to get into some of the trick plays. So this first one here, okay, this will be a flea flicker. All right, so we're going to have the slot right here. I think that might be Jalen Hyatt. This is Tennessee in 2021 versus Florida. I'm not quite sure who that wide receiver is, but either way, he's going to fake like he's blocking, then he's going to go deep. I think that actually is Jalen Hyatt. Either way, right, like we're going to see him kind of faking there. I mean, we all know what this play is supposed to look like, but it doesn't do a good job. This is what I was talking about. This is why there can be some, added fumbles and things like that, because you can add some trickeration to it. But look at all the green grass that wide receiver would have had, and the quarterback would have had to throw the football to Hendon Hooker if this play was able to get off. And we will see it again from this angle, right? So that y'all can kind of see what the heck's going on here. All right, so boom. Number one, this right here, this looks bad. Okay, like we should have practiced on this a lot more. I think that Hendon Hooker was trying to sell it a little bit too much, and he ends up bumping all into the running back. Can't have that. Then we also have the tight end on this backside, on that blind side that is, he doesn't do a very good job right there picking up that block. And then it wasn't a very good pitch either. So that looked like that was, like a desperation play. Just didn't look great. So on this one, we can see that we've got one tight end, okay? We've got one running back, and we've got one wide receiver. You see how they're lined up. This is going to be another one of those, like read option plays. We can either hand the football off to the running back, or, we can go to the speed option, which is what Hendon Hooker is going to do. So let this thing roll, all right? And this is who Hendon Hooker is reading. It's that guy right there on the end. And really, if he crashes down, then Hendon Hooker is supposed to keep this. But they do a very good job of being disciplined. Okay, he plays that perfectly. I'm talking about the guy that's on defense, in that surfing technique and all of that. But at this point, Hendon should have pitched this football. Okay, like he's got a guy out here that's got to beat on that safety or on that linebacker. You've got to pitch it to your guy. So he doesn't do it. He thinks that he can make something happen with his legs. We'll see it again, from this angle. But that was just a really, really poor decision, because you've got the tight end that came across as a lead blocker. So that's something that Hendon, he messed up on it, you know what I'm saying? But he definitely got better in the next season. But the whole point of that, y'all, is think about, having Nico running that with all the different skill players. Like that could be Boo. That could be Boo with Bishop, or with Peyton Lewis back there, or with anybody else. So yeah, it can add a whole lot. So on this play, we have two tight ends. Okay, this is a tight set, and it's going to be kind of similar, right? So that wide receiver that's highlighted in orange, he's going to fake like he's blocking, and he's going to go out on a route. All right, so this is a flea flicker again. So this is how it looks whenever it actually kind of gets off. So, we had a guy that was wide open, but the pass was just missed. So we're going to see this again. And keep in mind, y'all, this is from Coach Seth, right? So him, Coach Heupel, we've seen both of them run this same play, or, like a similar play. So that means that we'll probably see this in 2025. When's the last time? Well, we just saw the last time Tennessee did it. It was in 2021. So, but look at all that green grass, right? I mean, you think about that's Mike Matthews, that's Braylon Staley, that's Brazo, that's Travis Smith, that's Ra Jackson. That's Boo. That could be anybody. We got a lot of guys that can move and that are dogs and that want to go out and make plays. And of course, I still feel like we're going to get back to this, right? This is how the offense is supposed to look, where people are running wide open down the field with that spread, with that tempo. Like we said, we want to marry these two, being able to run the spread and then going fast. We're going to shift to that tempo, tighten things up. You can still run the spread out of the tempo, but this is how Tennessee can get back to seeing more of this, where the switch routes work, where we're, going deep, high five, and